Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight in athletics at a Division III small college. My guest today is Bob Bunnell. He's the Director of Athletics and Recreation at Centenary College of Louisiana. Welcome to the show.
Anthony, nice to be with you.
Yeah, no problem. So usually I start my guests, Bob, where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Well, I started my long college journey at State University of New York at Cortland, and had some academic difficulties there. I really wasn't prepared for college, and wound up going to a community college, Orange County Community College in Middletown, New York, and honestly can say that making the baseball team there changed my life. It made me want to do well academically so I could stay eligible, but also it just made me more competitive and made me want to do well. So I spent 2 years at Orange County and played baseball, and then finished out at Brockport, University of New York at Brockport, and played baseball for 2 more years there.
Great, fantastic. So when did the process start for you back in high school? Was it freshman year, senior year? How did it all start and you picking the schools?
Well, I think I probably started thinking more seriously about college when I was about a sophomore in high school. I was really young for my age. I actually had skipped a grade in grade school, so I was very young. And my sister went to Cortland, and my sister and I were close. Cortland was a great school. I, at the time, thought I wanted to be a mathematics major and coach high school baseball. Got accepted to Cortland. So that's how I made my initial choice. And had I done okay there academically, I probably would have been a proud Red Dragon graduate. But I didn't do well. And, the biggest failure of my life to that point. And fortunately, I was able to get admitted to Orange County Community College. And that, as I said, turned my life around.
Great. So now, when you went on to college, what were the difficulties at the school that you felt didn't get you through, and then ended up going to transfer?
Well, my high school is a very tiny high school in upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains, a town called Narrowsburg, right on the Pennsylvania-New York border. And my graduating class was the largest in school history of 32. So I had never been in a class of more than 32 students. And my first class at Cortland was in a lecture hall of 250 students taking Psych 101. I was lost and kind of buried, having been, kind of a big shot in high school. All of a sudden, I'm just a number. And I just didn't know how to study. I hadn't really needed to study through high school. And I really didn't take my academic program as aggressively as I should have. There was plenty of help out there, but I didn't know where to go for it, and I wouldn't reach out for it. So I made a lot of immature mistakes, and probably am a warning for a lot of other young kids going to college. There's help out there. Reach out for it and be willing to accept it.
Great. So now you graduate from college. How do you go from there to becoming the director of athletics at Centenary College of Louisiana? There's got to be, you're from the New York area. How do you get all the way down to Louisiana?
Well, it's a very long and circuitous career. When I graduated from Brockport, I was able to get a graduate assistantship at East Stroudsburg University in Pennsylvania. Did my master's degree there. And by the way, I had changed my major to physical education, so I got a PE degree from Brockport. And along the way, decided that the level of baseball that I wanted to coach was at the college level. Pardon me. So when I was at East Stroudsburg, I wasn't a GA for baseball, but I went into the baseball coach's office and asked him if I could volunteer. And so he took me on, and I coached our pitchers. And that year was also another transformative year for me because I confirmed the level of baseball I wanted to coach, and also decided what my academic track was going to be, and it was going to be sports psychology. So at the end of that year, my 130 Stroudsburg, I was unemployable. It was 1974, and I had a master's degree, and there were all of these other people who wanted to teach physical education. I couldn't get a job. So fortunately, my academic advisor came to me one day and said, "Would you be interested in going on for your doctorate?" And I said, "Me? I never thought of that." And she said, "Well, I did it. You can do it." I went, "Okay." So I'm fortunate enough to get a teaching associateship at Temple University in Philadelphia, and spent 3 years at Temple teaching and working in the dean's office, where I got my doctoral degree. So I was at 26. I had my doctor of education in sports psychology and no job. I was fortunate enough to given an opportunity at interview to be the first full-time athletic director at IUPUI in Indianapolis. This is August of 1977. And by some miracle, they hired me. So here I am with no real experience as their first full-time athletic director. Went from there to back to Temple for 4 years in the 80s as director of campus rec and associate professor. At the same time coaching baseball at 2 different colleges in Philadelphia. From there, I went to Kenyon College in Ohio for 9 years as athletic director, and 5 of which were baseball coach. Then 5 years at Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania as athletic director, and a couple years as softball coach. Then a few years as a faculty member at Point Park University in Pittsburgh, teaching sport management. 4 years at Purdue University Calumet as assistant vice chancellor and athletic director. And then 4.5 years at Newman University outside of Philadelphia in the sport management program, and then as dean of continuing adult and professional studies, where my daughter got her undergraduate degree. From there, I decided it was time to be back in athletics. My daughter had graduated from college, and Centenary offered me an opportunity to really pursue my passion, which is running an athletic program at the Division III level. So I told you it was circuitous, but it got me to where I am.
So that brings me to my next question then. You've traveled quite a lot for a lot of different positions. What is that a prerequisite to taking these jobs? Is you have to be flexible enough to go to different states, different schools?
Absolutely. There aren't that many of these jobs, and I was never the type of person to stay one place for a long, long time. I was at 2 different places 9 years, but I think there's a natural turnover time, I know for me, and I think for managers, that I always found that if I stayed at a place too long, I began to accept things that needed attention as those things that couldn't be changed. And I got itchy, but I also got too complacent. So moving has never been an issue for me. Fortunately, my family has been very flexible in that. And so, yeah, I think moving in the world of college athletics is really a necessity.
So if someone wants to get into that field, that's something that they have to look at as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's go into Centenary College of Louisiana. Now, here in New Jersey, we have a Centenary College in New Jersey, and they're a small college as well. So what does the Director of Athletics and Recreation actually do at a school like Centenary College of Louisiana?
Well, this is the smallest the smallest institution I've ever worked at. Temple had 35,000 students when I was there, and we're about 600 full-time undergrads here in Centenary and Shreveport. However, almost half of the student body are varsity athletes. We have 15 varsity programs. We're about to add men's lacrosse as our 16th, hopefully adding women's lacrosse shortly after. we are not deep in administration and athletics, so I'm really the only full-time person who does strictly administration. We have all full-time head coaches, which is unusual for Division III, but I do everything from compliance to supervising the student-athlete advisory committee to doing PA for soccer, doing play-by-play baseball on our streaming video, to pretty much everything, and serving on every committee. I report directly to the president, who is fantastic. He's a new president who has really breathed some great life into the college and is tremendously supportive of athletics. So it's really been kind of a rebirth for me in college athletics and an opportunity to rebuild the program.
That's fantastic. So a lot of parents out there, they always talk about their kids going to college and playing at the college level. Is there any financial need or monies at a Division III type of school? I know Division I, you have your scholarships and things, but is there anything at a Division III type school that parents can look at as well?
Oh, absolutely. I would recommend that parents and the students themselves become very familiar with what's available through financial aid in an institution. Most Division III schools have a bit of an issue of people having sticker shock when they see how much the cost of attending a private liberal arts college is. You know, there are some of those places that I used to work are like $65,000 a year now to attend, but nobody pays $65,000 a year, or hardly anybody pays $65,000. An example here at Centenary, we have an early visit award. If a student applies to Centenary and they come to visit, do a campus visit before December 15th, they get an automatic $5,000 grant. That carries through 4 years. So it's a $20,000 scholarship over the period of 4 years. If they are from out of state, there's an additional $5,000 grant. So for an out-of-state student coming here, I think the total cost here is around $49,000 per year. So that's down to $39,000. Then on top of that, depending on the academic potential of a student, there are a number of scholarships, up to $20,000 a year. And then there are additional scholarships. Some are related to the Methodist Church. We are a member of the Methodist Church. There are scholarships for all different kinds of students. So it makes the cost very reasonable in the end for a private college experience. And every school does the same thing.
Great. So tell me a little bit about the school. What's the school like? Where are they actually located? Shreveport. For a person, I've been down into the New Orleans area, and I know Shreveport's a ways away. But
Yes.
for people out there that've never been to Louisiana, give me a little sense of what the school is about, how far it is, so on.
All right. Shreveport is northwestern Louisiana. We're almost in Texas. And a 15-minute drive, you are in East Texas. And many people think that Shreveport is an extension of East Texas because it is not really like New Orleans. If you get south of Lafayette, south of Baton Rouge, it becomes a totally different culture and different environment. So we are kind of like an East Texas institution and city. We're right on the Red River. Shreveport was built on oil and gas. We currently have a number of casinos helping the economy right on the Red River, hoping that the oil and gas business prospers once again. Centenary has been around. We will have our 200th anniversary in 2021-25. Originally was founded in Jackson, Mississippi, and moved here. It is, as I said, affiliated with the Methodist Church. Our primary academic programs are the hard sciences. We place many, many students in medical school, dental school, vet school. We also have a very strong business program, a good education program, and we have a famous choir. Our Centenary choir travels internationally.
Wow.
We are known athletically for our years as a Division I institution. Until 6 years ago, Centenary was the smallest Division I school in America. It is the alma mater of Robert Parrish, who played for the Boston Celtics, I'm blanking on the names right now. Seth Lugo of the New York Mets is a Centenary graduate. Kathy Johnson, who was an Olympic gymnast. Hal Sutton, who was a PGA champion and captained the Ryder team. All of those folks were Centenary grads of the Division I era. The institution made a decision 7 years ago or longer to reclassify to Division III, and it's really where we belong. With a small school, we're in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, the only school in Louisiana in that conference, and we're one of only 2 Division III schools in the entire state of Louisiana. The other school is Louisiana College. It's been an interesting challenge trying to educate the state of Louisiana about Division III. Most of their experience with college athletics is LSU, Louisiana Tech, Tulane, schools of that nature. So the value of a private liberal arts college and a Division III athletic experience is not widely known in this state. So frankly, a lot of our students come from the Dallas area. We're 3 hours from Dallas, 200 miles from Dallas. So, our border extends all the way, through Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi. We have kids from Colorado. So we're a pretty national institution.
Yeah, that's great for only around 600 kids coming there. That you have a wide net of people coming.
We do, and we certainly have aspirations to be a larger institution. We had a terrific admission year this year. We are hopeful to grow the enrollment here to 800 or so in the next several years, and I'm really confident we're going to be able to do it with the combination of our great president, Dr. Chris Holloman, who came here from Hilbert College in Buffalo and has really made some wonderful changes and reached out to the community of Shreveport. We want to be Shreveport's college. There are 3 universities, 3 colleges in Shreveport. There's Centenary College, there's LSU Shreveport, and there's Bossier Parish Community College. So there are 3 of us, but we're the only private 4-year school in this area.
So what are some of the athletic programs that you have there, and what are some of the teams that you actually play against?
We have 15 teams in the fall. We're one of only a few schools to have a women's triathlon as varsity sport. We have men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball. In the winter, men's and women's basketball and men's and women's swimming. In the spring, baseball, softball, men's and women's tennis, men's and women's golf. We'll be adding lacrosse. And hopefully down the road, women's lacrosse and then track and field as well. We play, like I said, in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference with Trinity University, Schreiner University, University of Dallas, schools of that ilk, Texas Lutheran, and we also have Colorado College, interestingly enough, in our conference. For those folks back in the East, where I'm from, we're accustomed to being in Division III conferences where we might travel 2 hours to play an opponent. Here, our average one-way trip for an event is 400 miles.
Wow.
And we travel 912 miles to Colorado Springs to play Colorado College. So it's really different. Basketball, for example, is a Friday, Sunday experience. Soccer is Friday, Sunday. We kind of travel almost like the Ivy Leagues do. The Friday, Sunday format for most things. I have to tout our baseball program. Our baseball program has obviously turned out some terrific players, and we won our first ever Division III conference championship this year in the Centenary, in the the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, and advanced to the West Regional of Division III, and had a first-team All-American. Our catcher, Chris Zapata, hit 391 this year with 12 homers and 71 RBIs in 42 games. We also had a second-team All-American in Michael Schimpf, who was a first-team academic All-American as well. And we had one of our women win the conference golf championship. So we've had some success here this year. We're poised for more success. I have a great coaching staff, terrific support staff, and our institution really cares about athletics. And that would be something I would suggest that student athletes and parents look for, as a place that is not embarrassed about its athletic program and its success. I think that schools like ours attract young men and young women who want to be successful in everything they do. So why not be great in athletics and be great in academics? It's not a zero-sum game. You can do both.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you talked about the chorus. Is there money in chorus as well, or does everybody at the school able to get these monies that you talked about before?
There are scholarships for choruses. For chorus, no athletic scholarships, but there are some choral scholarships. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And now parents also talk about it's always about the sport and never about academics. What's your take on that?
I don't agree. You know, I've worked at several Division III schools, and it is always academics first. You know, maybe I've been fortunate. I've worked at some really outstanding schools, but Division III, in its heart, is academic, and it's achieving a degree, preparing for a life after college. For the vast majority of Division III athletes, it's not going to involve professional sports. It happens occasionally, but I don't think many people go into Division III planning to be professional athletes. So I would disagree, and I actually think that there is a misperception about college athletics, and everything is painted with a broad brush, that all college athletics are the same. They're all the LSUs or Ohio States of the world, and they're not. The vast majority, there's 450 Division III members. There's more Division III schools than there are Division I and II, and we have more sports than most of those Division I and II schools. So we're churning out terrific people who are really good students.
Now, is there some kind of like study hall or something that the athletic department gives to these kids so then they can keep up with their studies?
Sometimes, you know, we don't do it very much here at Centenary. Our students come in very well prepared to be college students. So it's really based on what the team needs are and what the coach's perception of what's necessary for the teams. They may do several study hall hours per week, but frankly, the athletic load is not such that students are challenged to be able to do their academic work.
Yeah. Great.
We had this past semester, out of our 209 student athletes, 28 of them had 4.0 grade point averages.
Wow. Fantastic. So
10%.
So
Over 10%.
Out of the 600 students, I guess there's over 60% of the students that come there are usually playing some kind of sport.
Well, when they come to college, yes. This past year, 55% of the freshman class were recruited student athletes. You know, we're not only recruiting athletes, we're recruiting students for the enrollment, you know, of the institution as well.
Right, and to get good jobs after school, is that correct?
Absolutely. I think every college really is known by the jobs that their graduates get.
Yeah, fantastic. So we're coming to the end of our show. Usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the families out there that their sons and daughters want to go to college? They never heard of Centenary College of Louisiana. What advice do you want to give to those students?
Well, I think there's 4 questions that a prospective student athlete and parents need to be able to answer when they choose a college. Number 1 is, Does this institution that you're considering have the academic program that you need to pursue the career that at 18 years of age you think you're going to pursue? And we know they're going to change their major probably at least once. So number one is there an academic fit? Number two, can you afford it? And I think a lot of people write off of college as not being able to afford it by simply looking at the sticker price. They need to do more in checking out actually what people do pay to go to that institution. So I really can't emphasize that enough. Don't be scared by the sticker price. Number three thing is, does the institution have an athletic program at the level at which you feel you could compete and be comfortable and get enough playing time? Don't undersell yourself, but don't oversell yourself as well. So that's really, really important. And the fourth one is the one that you really can't quantify. It's when you walk around that campus, when you're visiting that campus, and you look at those buildings and those people and the folks you talk to, you picture yourself being there for 4 years. Can you picture that being your home for the next 4 years? And if you can answer all those questions, yes, or the affirmative, you may have the place you're going to go to school. But I think those four questions are really the most salient questions you can ask.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much. I think this is a great service that you're providing for folks, and it's been my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.